Hey, I want to talk about Slipping Through My Fingers by ABBA. And at first, I want to talk about the background of the band. The band was formed in 1972 in Stockholm, in Sweden, and the band has four members: Agneta, Anna Frid, Björn, and Benny. It is one of the most successful bands in the history of music, and their songs have over a billion plays online combined. And then they had nine songs who went number one on the American Top 100 Billboard, and the songs are The Winner Takes It All, SOS, Waterloo, Does Your Mother Know, Lay All Your Love on Me, Take a Chance on Me, Mamma Mia, Gimme Gimme Gimme, and Dancing Queen. And then I found three fun facts on the internet, and the first is the band tried to find a proper name for them in the newspaper, and the readers of the newspaper came up with ideas like Alibaba, Fab, and Baba. But the band got inspired by these suggestions and chose ABBA for their band name. And the second fun fact is ABBA won Eurovision Song Contest in 1974 with Waterloo, which is the most famous song still today. And the last fun fact is that ABBA was very famous during the Cold War, also in the Soviet Union. So the Soviet Union had to pay them with royal payments instead of ruble, which was banned in all other countries because of the war. And then to the song narrator slash point of view and relevant characterizations. The song is written in subjective first person narration, and it's we hear it in the eyes of the mom, and we hear her feelings and thoughts, and we do that. I brought a quote which says, "Do I really see what's in her mind?" And there you can hear that she's doubting herself. So we hear a thought, and then there's an I, which means it is in the first person narration. And then to a characterization of the mom, it is limited what we get to know about the mom because she is the narrator. But she seems very loving the way she describes her daughter and how she behaves towards her. And then the daughter, she's around 13 to 19 years old. She's definitely a teenager because her mother describes her sometimes as absent. And like she's worried she's gonna move out soon, so she's definitely in that age. And then she also appears to be funny. In verse 1, her mother says, "That funny little girl." And then to the song setting. The song extends over the narrator's daughter's childhood, and there's a lot of everyday moments, like in verse 1. School bag in hand, she leaves home in the early morning, waving goodbye with an absent-minded smile. I watch her go, with a surge of that well-known sadness, and I have to sit down for a while. And there we can see a sad mood, because she thinks of the ending of her daughter's childhood. And when there's a sad mood in the song, the words like sadness, melancholy, and guilt appears. So you can definitely hear that it's a sad mood. But then there's also a joyful mood, and that is when she thinks of all the memories they had together. And there's an example of that. I'm glad whenever I can share her laughter, that funny little girl. And then to the setting. The physical setting seems very pleasant and realistic because we hear that a quote saying, "Her and me at the breakfast table," which seems like a pretty realistic setting to me. And then to the song message. I think one of the messages are that childhood is over before you know it, whether it's your own childhood or it's your children's childhood. So you have to enjoy every moment of it. And the writer don't want us to have any regrets. And we can see that the mom has some regrets. She feels like she hadn't been enough for her child, and she describes a situation where she's half sleepy at the breakfast table, and she would do anything to make those situations again and have fun and enjoy the moment a bit more. And we get an example of that. Sometimes I wish that I could freeze the picture and save it from the funny tricks of time. And that means like she would like to stop time and just enjoy the particular moment and be with her daughter and not be worried about the time going. And then I had to find out if there was any autobiographical elements. And then I researched a bit, and I found out that Benny left his children when the ABBA became famous, because he had to go on a world tour, many world tours with the band, so he couldn't always be there for his children. And I definitely think his own feelings and thoughts appears in this song. And then I tried to find out if the theme is relevant today, and I definitely think it is, actually even more, because I think many parents work even harder and more today. They have 8 to 5 jobs and are very busy. And then when the children get home, many children will just go to the room and watch their phone and play some PlayStation and not really be together with the parents. And then when the mother is yelling, "We have to eat now," they will go down and eat and probably talk a bit, and that's it. They will then go to bed, watch the phone again, play some PlayStation again. And I definitely think a lot of parents will regret that in the future, that they didn't enjoy moments with their children and had some fun with them instead of letting them be for themselves. And then to song relation, and I had to relate this song to the theme family life, and I found 2 texts, and the first is a song by Harry Chapin called "Cats in the Cradle," and it's about a dad who didn't have time for his son, and when his son then grew up, he didn't have time for his father. And then there's some similarities. They did not spend enough time with the child, and it's of course a bit more in the Cats in the Cradle, where he chose to his career over his child. And in Slipping Through My Fingers, I think she did spend a lot of time with her. She just wanted to spend more time. And then there's also regrets in Cats in the Cradle, because he would have liked to be a bit more with his child and be there on his most important moments of his life. And then there's also a difference, because Harry Chapin chose to leave and not be there for his child. And the other text I want to relate to is The Beginning of Tomorrow by Charles E. Turner. It's a story about a daughter who's leaving home because she has to go on a nursery school. And in that text, it's the mother thinks the daughter's childhood is just disappeared. She says, "It seems like it was only yesterday you were starting to kindergarten." And that, yeah, you could see that she thinks it went very fast. And then they both have proud and loving parents and parent, because the way they describe them in the texts. And then there's a sad mood in both Slipping Through My Fingers and The Beginning of Tomorrow, when they think of their children's ending childhood. And there's an example example of that in the beginning of Tomorrow, where the mother had a sad-looking smile. And then there's a joyful mood when they think of the memories they had with the children. And at last, the message in the song is that you have to enjoy your childhood and your child's childhood. And then both themes are leaving home. Yeah, and that's it. Thank you for listening.